There's a force within you that governs your entire life, determining your success or failure, your greatness or mediocrity, your freedom or enslavement. This force is as primal as the first man who walked the earth, as powerful as the rising sun, and as mysterious as the deepest secrets of the human soul. It's sexual energy, but not as you imagine it, not as you've been taught, not as modern society has programmed you to understand. Napoleon Hill discovered what the great masters of antiquity already knew. Sexual energy is the most powerful force available to humans, and when properly transmuted, it becomes the key to extraordinary achievement. We're not just talking about money, although money comes as a natural consequence. We're talking about personal power, magnetism, mental clarity, explosive creativity, and a presence that moves mountains. But first, you need to confront an uncomfortable truth about yourself. How many times today did you feel that familiar urge? That restlessness that arises from nowhere, that fire burning low in your belly, demanding immediate gratification. How many times did you give in without question, without realizing you were wasting the most precious fuel of your existence? With every empty orgasm, every compulsive masturbation, every desperate pursuit of instant pleasure, you are literally ejaculating your future, your fortune, your destiny. Modern society has turned you into an addict, addicted to dopamine, addicted to easy pleasure, addicted to temporary relief. They told you it's natural, that it's healthy, that you should indulge whenever you feel like it. A lie. The biggest lie ever told to humanity. Because if you knew the true power residing within this energy, if you understood that this same force compelling you to momentary pleasure is the same force that can elevate you to the heights of great achievers, you would never waste it again. Napoleon Hill studied over 500 extraordinarily successful men over 25 years. Industrialists, inventors, statesmen, artists, all those who left their indelible mark on human history. And he discovered a pattern no one dared to speak openly about. They had all learned to transmute their sexual energy into grand achievements. Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Andrew Carnegie, Theodore Roosevelt, they all mastered this secret art. But what does transmuting sexual energy mean? It's the oldest alchemy in the world. It's taking the lead of primal desire and transforming it into the gold of conscious achievement. It's recognizing that every sexual urge carries within it a divine spark, a creative power that can manifest anything you can conceive. It's understanding that the same fire burning in your loins is the same fire burning in the hearts of great visionaries. Imagine for a moment that you are an ancient warrior and your sexual energy is your sword. You can use it for small daily battles, spending it on meaningless skirmishes, or you can conserve it, sharpen it, transform it into the world's sharpest blade, and use it for epic conquests. The difference between an ordinary man and an extraordinary man isn't in natural talent, it's not in luck, it's not in circumstances, it's in how he wields his sword. Have you ever wondered why you feel that deep exhaustion after masturbating? Why motivation disappears? Why mental clarity clouds? Why you feel less of a man, less powerful, less capable? It's not moral failing, it's not religious sin, it's pure physics, it's ancestral biology, it's your nervous system telling you that you've just spent the most refined energy of your organism, the most precious substance of your being. Each ejaculation carries not only semen, but zinc, selenium, proteins, vitamins, minerals, hormones, neurotransmitters. It carries your life force, your creative essence, your ability to generate not only biological life, but life in every sense. When you waste this compulsively, you are literally emptying yourself, diminishing yourself, becoming a smaller version of yourself. But there's another path, the path of the inner alchemists, the path of those who learned that fire can both destroy and forge. Napoleon Hill called it the transmutation of sexual energy, but the ancients had other names: cultivating essence, seminal retention, brahmacharya, conservation of ojas. They all point to the same fundamental truth. There is a power within you that can be preserved, refined, and redirected to much higher purposes. Sexual transmutation is not repression. Repression is trying to suffocate the fire, deny it, hide it under the rug of consciousness. This only generates neurosis, frustration, and inappropriate outbursts. Transmutation is acknowledging the fire, respecting it, honoring it, and then consciously directing it where you want it to go. It's like building a hydroelectric plant on a wild waterfall. You're not stopping the water, you're channeling its force to generate useful energy. When you begin practicing the conservation of sexual energy, something extraordinary happens. In the first few days, you feel a growing restlessness. Your body is accustomed to easy relief, to the ever-open escape valve. Your mind begins to invent justifications to create more elaborate fantasies, to convince you that you need to relieve yourself. This is the first phase of alchemy, confronting your shadow. Your shadow is everything you've repressed, denied, hidden from yourself. When you stop compulsively discharging your sexual energy, it returns inward, and like a dammed river, it begins to illuminate all the dark corners of your psyche. Fears you didn't know you had emerge to the surface. Old angers resurface. Deep sadness cries out for attention. You discover that much of your compulsive sexual behavior was actually an escape from these unresolved contents. This is the moment most men give up. They'd rather return to the familiar numbness of instant gratification than face the abyss of themselves. But you're not most men. You're here because you sense there's something more, something greater, something worth all the internal battles you'll have to face. As you persist, repressed sexual energy begins to transform, literally. This isn't a metaphor, it's biochemistry. The hormones normally spent on semen production and ejaculation begin circulating throughout your nervous system. Testosterone rises, growth hormone increases, dopamine rebalances. Your brain begins to function differently. You notice you're waking up with more energy. Your voice becomes deeper, more resonant. Your eyes shine with an intensity you didn't have before. Your posture changes. You become straighter, more present, more magnetic. People begin to notice something different about you, but can't quite place it. It's primal power awakening. It's the inner warrior taking its rightful place. But the real magic happens in your mind. The conserved sexual energy begins to fuel your higher brain centers. Your concentration multiplies. Your ideas become clearer, more innovative, more powerful. You discover you can work for hours without tiring, that you can solve complex problems with unprecedented ease, that you can visualize your goals with almost cinematic clarity. Napoleon Hill observed that the most successful men possessed this sharp capacity for creative visualization. They could see their goals not as distant fantasies, but as future realities as clear as the present. This ability isn't an innate gift, it's a direct result of sexual transmutation. The same energy that creates biological life, when redirected, creates realities in the material world. Henry Ford visualized the V8 engine with such intensity that his engineers, even claiming it was impossible, ended up creating exactly what he saw in his mind. Thomas Edison could see his inventions working before he even built them. Andrew Carnegie visualized his steel empire decades before he owned his first steel mill. All of them practiced, consciously or unconsciously, the art of transmuting sexual energy into creative power. You can learn this art, but first, you need to understand that it's not just about stopping masturbation. That would only be the first, most superficial step. True sexual transmutation is a process of refining consciousness, raising your energetic vibration, aligning with the higher forces of nature. When you conserve your sexual energy for extended periods, you begin to enter states of consciousness that most people never experience. States of extreme clarity, where solutions to your problems appear spontaneously. States of profound inspiration, where revolutionary ideas emerge from nowhere. States of personal magnetism, where you attract opportunities, people, and resources, like a powerful magnet. But this power comes with responsibility. Transmuted sexual energy is like nuclear fire. It can illuminate entire cities or destroy everything around it. That's why Napoleon Hill emphasized the importance of having defined goals, clear purposes, high ideals. Without conscious direction, the accumulated energy can turn into uncontrolled aggression, destructive ambition, manipulation of others. The man who masters his sexual energy automatically becomes a leader. Not because he seeks to lead, but because his presence naturally inspires confidence, respect, admiration. His unwasted energy radiates as an invisible aura that affects everyone around him. Women feel mysteriously drawn to him. Men unconsciously respect him. Opportunities appear in his life as if magnetized. This is the secret that schools don't teach, that universities ignore, that modern society hides. Success isn't just a result of techniques, strategies, or external knowledge. It's primarily a result of the development of inner personal power, and there's no more potent source of personal power than conserved and transmuted sexual energy. Imagine your sexual energy as a river. Most men live with this river constantly draining through 1,000 small open gates. Compulsive masturbation, excessive sexual fantasies, relationships based solely on physical satisfaction, pornography, unnecessary sexualized conversations. The river never has a chance to gain strength, to become a powerful torrent. When you begin to close these gates one by one, the river begins to accumulate. In the first few days, you'll only feel a slight increase in energy. After a week, you'll notice greater physical stamina. After a month, your mind will be sharper. After 3 months, you'll be a different person. After a year of consistent practice, you'll have developed powers you never imagined possessing. But the process isn't linear, nor simple. There are challenges that will test your determination to the limits. In the first few days, your body will protest. You'll feel physical tension, restlessness, difficulty sleeping. Your mind will invent 1,000 reasons to give up. This isn't natural. You need to relieve yourself. A little won't hurt. These are the voices of your old programming, the neural pathways that want to keep you in the comfort zone of mediocrity. After a few weeks, you'll face what the ancients called the trial by fire. Your accumulated sexual energy will begin to press for release. Intense erotic dreams may appear. Nocturnal emissions may occur. Temptations will present themselves in unexpected ways. This is the moment when your commitment to transformation will be truly tested. This is where you need to understand that sexual energy is sacred. Not in a moralistic religious sense, but in the sense that it connects you to the creative forces of the universe. When you waste it for momentary pleasure, you're profaning something sacred within you. When you conserve and consciously direct it, you're participating in the most sublime act of creation. Ancient masters understood this. That's why they developed specific practices to transmute sexual energy, special breathing techniques that draw energy up the spine, visualizations that transform sexual fire into mental clarity, meditations that refine raw energy into spiritual power, physical exercises that strengthen the nervous system to handle higher voltages of energy. You don't need to become a monk or an ascetic to practice sexual transmutation. Napoleon Hill made this abundantly clear. Many of the most successful men he studied had fulfilling relationships, happy families, and healthy sex lives. The difference is that they weren't slaves to their impulses. They had conscious control over when, how, and with whom they expressed their sexual energy. The man who masters his sexual energy naturally develops what Napoleon Hill called sex appeal, an irresistible personal magnetism that goes far beyond physical appearance. This magnetism isn't artificial, it can't be faked or imitated. It's a direct result of conserved and refined vital energy. It's a vibration that emanates from your entire being and profoundly affects everyone around you. Women sense this magnetism instinctively. They may not rationally understand what it is, but they know they're in the presence of a different kind of man. A man who possesses something most others don't. This something is genuine power, unwasteful life force, real presence instead of empty performance. Men perceive it too, even unconsciously. They sense that you're not competing on the same level, that you possess superior internal resources. This might generate respect or envy, depending on the person's character, but it always generates recognition that you're different. In the business world, this magnetism translates into natural leadership. Your ideas are heard with more attention. Your proposals are taken more seriously. Your presence in a room changes the dynamic of any meeting. You develop that indefinable quality that makes people want to follow you, invest in you, bet on you. But to reach this level, you need to understand that sexual transmutation is more than a technique. It's a lifestyle. It's a completely new way of relating to your own energy, your own power, your own masculine nature. It's the difference between being driven by unconscious impulses and being the conscious director of your own life. The journey begins with a decision to stop being a slave to your impulses and start being the master of your energy. This decision needs to be total. It can't be half-hearted. You can't half-transmute sexual energy, just as you can't be half-pregnant or half-dead. It's a radical transformation that requires radical commitment. In the early days, establish an environment that supports your decision. Remove unnecessary temptations, pornography, excessive sexual content, situations that habitually led you to masturbation. Don't put yourself in situations where your willpower will be tested beyond what's necessary. Use your strategic intelligence to make success more likely. Replace old habits with new ones. At the time you'd normally masturbate, engage in intense physical exercise. Channel sexual energy directly into productive activity. Transform tension into movement, restlessness into action. Your body will gradually learn that there's a new outlet for this energy, an outlet that strengthens you instead of weakening you. Develop practices that elevate your energetic vibration. Daily meditation, even if it's only 10 minutes, will create spaces of stillness where you can observe your impulses without being overpowered by them. Specific breathing exercises can help circulate sexual energy through your nervous system, transforming genital pressure into mental clarity. Breathing is particularly important. The ancients discovered that breath is the bridge between the conscious and unconscious, between body and mind, between sexual energy and mental energy. Deep, conscious breaths, especially when you feel intense sexual urges, can literally transmute that energy in real time. Inhale deeply, imagining you're bringing energy not just to your lungs but to your entire nervous system. Hold your breath for a few seconds, visualizing that energy refining, purifying itself. Exhale slowly, mentally directing that energy towards your goals, your projects, your visions for the future. This is practical alchemy, the conscious transformation of raw energy into usable power. As you practice, you'll discover that intense sexual urges aren't problems to be avoided, but signals that you have energy available for great accomplishments. Instead of fearing them or automatically giving in to them, you'll learn to receive them as messengers of power. Every time you feel that familiar fire, remember, this is the fuel for big dreams. Redirect that energy immediately into something productive. Work on your most important project. Study something that will develop your skills. Exercise intensely. Meditate deeply. Create something beautiful. Solve a complex problem. Use the fire to forge, not to burn unnecessarily. Over time, you'll develop a refined sensitivity to your own energy. You'll notice when it's accumulating, when it needs direction, when it's being wasted on unnecessary activities. You'll develop the ability to conserve not only sexual energy, but all forms of vital energy, mental, emotional, physical. This refined sensitivity is one of the greatest competitive advantages anyone can have in the modern world. While most people live in a constant state of energetic leakage, wasting attention on social media, emotional energy on unnecessary dramas, mental energy on useless worries, you'll be consciously conserving and directing all your forces toward your most important goals. Napoleon Hill observed that the most successful men had this capacity for extreme concentration. They could intensely focus on a goal for long periods without dissipating their attention. This ability isn't a natural talent. It's a result of energy conservation and transmutation. When you stop leaking sexual energy, you automatically develop a greater capacity for concentration in all areas. Your visualization abilities also multiply exponentially. Conserved sexual energy fuels the brain centers responsible for creative imagination. You'll find you can visualize your goals with photographic clarity, see solutions to complex problems, and imagine future scenarios with stunning detail. This refined visualization ability is what Napoleon Hill called the workshop of the mind. It's where all great achievements begin, first as clear mental images, then as defined plans, finally as manifested realities. Transmuted sexual energy is the fuel that powers this workshop, making it run at high speed and efficiency. You'll also discover that your intuition sharpens dramatically. You'll begin to sense opportunities before they clearly manifest. You'll perceive people's intentions beyond what they say. You'll make decisions based on information you can't rationally explain, but which consistently prove correct. This refined intuition isn't vague mysticism. It's a direct result of the nervous system operating at higher levels of sensitivity. When you're not constantly discharging your vital energy, your nervous system becomes like a precision instrument, capable of picking up subtle signals that would normally go unnoticed. In the business world, this sharpened intuition translates into perfect timing. You'll know when to make a proposal, when to back off, when to invest, when to sell. You'll develop that sixth sense that great entrepreneurs possess, that ability to be in the right place at the right time with the right idea. But perhaps the most profound benefit of sexual transmutation is the development of what the ancients called real presence. This is an indefinable quality that some people possess and others don't. It's the difference between someone who is genuinely present and someone who is only physically present. It's the difference between a charismatic personality and an ordinary person. Real presence can't be faked, bought, or imitated. It can only be developed through the genuine refinement of consciousness and personal energy. When you consistently conserve and transmute your sexual energy, you naturally develop this magnetic quality that makes people want to be around you. Listen to what you have to say and follow your lead. This presence affects everything in your life. Your relationships become deeper and more meaningful. Your professional pursuits gain a dimension of purpose they didn't have before. Your daily life becomes infused with an almost sacred quality because you're operating from a higher level of consciousness. But to reach this level, you need to understand that sexual transmutation is a gradual process that requires patience, persistence, and wisdom. It's not a transformation that happens overnight. It's like training to become an elite athlete. It requires daily discipline, consistent commitment, and a willingness to endure temporary discomfort for the sake of lasting benefits. In the first few months, focus primarily on basic conservation. Simply avoid wasting sexual energy through compulsive masturbation, excessive pornography, and unnecessary sexual fantasies. This is the foundation upon which everything else will be built. Without this solid foundation, all advanced techniques will be useless. In parallel, develop practices that support your transformation. Regular physical exercise will help your body process and circulate the conserved energy. Healthy eating will provide the nutrients necessary for optimal hormone production. Adequate sleep will allow your nervous system to regenerate and strengthen. Daily meditation, even if brief, will create spaces of observation where you can witness your impulses without being dominated by them. This capacity for detached observation is fundamental to mastering any energy. You can't control what you can't clearly observe. Reading books that elevate your mind is also crucial. Napoleon Hill, obviously, but also other authors who have explored the deeper aspects of human potential. Your mind needs to be fed with elevated ideas, inspiring visions, and concepts that expand your understanding of what's possible. As you progress, you can incorporate more advanced techniques, specific breathing exercises that draw energy up the spine, visualizations that transform sexual energy into mental light, practices that connect your individual energy with higher cosmic energies. But these advanced techniques are only effective when built upon the solid foundation of basic conservation. The journey won't always be easy. There will be moments of doubt when you question whether it's all worth the effort. There will be intense temptations that will test your determination. There will be periods when you feel too different, too isolated, as if you're walking a path few understand. In those moments, remember why you started this journey. Remember the version of yourself you want to become. Remember the dreams you want to realize, the contributions you want to make to the world, the legacy you want to leave. Transmuted sexual energy is the fuel that can take you there, but only if you remain steadfast on the path. Remember also that you're not just doing this for yourself. You're doing it for your family, your descendants, your community. When a man develops his genuine personal power through sexual transmutation, he elevates not only himself, but everyone around him. He becomes a living example that it's possible to transcend mediocrity, that it's possible to live at a higher level of existence. Your transformation will inspire other men to pursue their own greatness. Your refined presence will positively affect every woman who crosses your path. Your children will grow up seeing a model of conscious, powerful, and responsible masculinity. You will become an uplifting force in the world, simply by having developed mastery over your own vital energy. And as you progress on this journey, you'll discover that sexual transmutation is only the beginning. It's the gateway to levels of personal development that most people don't even imagine exist. It's the first step toward what Napoleon Hill called the philosophy of individual achievement, the understanding and application of the universal laws that govern success, happiness, and personal fulfillment. You'll discover that the same principle that allows for the transmutation of sexual energy can be applied to all other energies: mental, emotional, spiritual. You'll learn to conserve mental energy by avoiding scattered and negative thoughts. You'll develop emotional mastery, channeling anger into determination, fear into caution, sadness into deep compassion. More importantly, you'll discover that you're not just conserving and transmuting personal energies, but learning to connect with far greater universal energies. Individual sexual energy, when properly refined, becomes a conduit for cosmic energies that can accomplish things that seemed impossible when you were operating solely from limited personal resources. This is the true secret that Napoleon Hill discovered by studying the most successful men of his time. They weren't operating solely from personal resources, but had learned to connect with far greater power sources. Sexual transmutation was simply the method that allowed them to refine their energetic vibration to the point where these higher connections became possible. When you reach this level of development, your life becomes a constant adventure of growth, discovery, and accomplishment. Each day brings new opportunities to apply your refined power to greater challenges. Each project becomes a chance to express your heightened creativity. Each relationship becomes an opportunity to share your transformed energy with others. You become a man who not only succeeds, but inspires success in others. Not only accumulates wealth, but creates genuine value. Not only fulfills personal desires, but contributes to the greater good. This is the ripe fruit of sexual transmutation, not just personal power, but power in the service of higher purposes. And at this moment, as you absorb these words, a deep part of you already knows this is your true nature. You weren't created to be mediocre, to waste your vital energy on empty pleasures, to live below your true potential. You were created to be extraordinary, to use every drop of your vital energy in the service of grand achievements, to leave a lasting positive mark on the world. The sexual energy pulsing within you at this very moment is not your enemy, not a temptation to be resisted with brute force. It's your greatest ally, your most potent fuel, your most direct connection to the creative forces of the universe. When you learn to honor it, conserve it, and consciously direct it, it transforms into the key that unlocks all the doors that seemed forever closed. The fire that burns in your lower belly is the same fire that burned in the heart of all the great achievers in history. The difference isn't in the intensity of the fire, but in how they chose to use it. They didn't extinguish it. They didn't fear it. They weren't ashamed of it. They refined it, directed it, transformed it into light, into power, into achievements that benefited all of humanity. You have the same flame, you have the same power, you have the same opportunity to transmute your most primal energy into your highest achievements. The only difference between where you are now and where you can go is the decision to begin this journey of transformation and the discipline to persevere until it becomes your new nature. The time is now. Not tomorrow, when circumstances are more favorable. Not next week when you have more time, not next month when you feel more prepared. Now, this instant. While the fire of inspiration still burns brightly within you, while the vision of your transformed self is still clear in your mind, while you still feel the force of possibility coursing through your veins. Close your eyes for a moment and visualize the man you can become. See him clearly. upright, confident, radiating genuine power. His eyes shine with the light of conserved and transmuted energy. His voice resonates with natural authority. His presence commands respect without demanding anything. He is not a slave to impulses, but master of his own energy. He doesn't waste his vital force on fleeting pleasures, but consciously directs it to build the future he envisioned. This man is not an impossible fantasy. He is you operating from your true potential. He is who you become when you stop leaking your most precious energy and begin using it to forge your own greatness. He is the natural result of sexual transmutation, practiced with consistency, wisdom, and a higher purpose. Now open your eyes and make a choice. You can continue living as you have lived, wasting your vital energy, operating below your potential, being driven by unconscious impulses, or you can begin today the journey that will transform you into the man you just visualized. There is no middle ground. There is no neutral zone. Either you are growing or you are diminishing. Either you are accumulating power or you are wasting power. Sexual transmutation is the path of spiritual warriors, of inner alchemists, of those who dare to defy the mediocrity accepted by the majority. It is the narrow path that leads to genuine greatness, but which few have the courage to tread, because it requires facing all aspects of oneself that they would rather keep hidden. But you are not like most. If you were, you wouldn't be here. Absorbing these words, feeling this fire of possibility burning in your chest. You feel the call to greatness because you were created for greatness. You feel the dissatisfaction with mediocrity because your soul knows far greater possibilities. Napoleon Hill spent 25 years of his life studying the secrets of success so that men like you could learn in months what took him decades to discover. He distilled the wisdom of 500 of history's most successful men into practical principles that any determined individual can apply. And at the center of all these principles is this one: mastery of sexual energy is mastery of life. When you master your sexual energy, you master your mind. When you master your mind, you master your emotions. When you master your emotions, you master your actions. When you master your actions, you master your results. When you master your results, you master your destiny. It all begins with the decision to stop being a slave to impulses and start being the master of your energy. This isn't a journey you take alone. You join an ancestral lineage of men who discovered this secret. The great leaders, the visionaries, the innovators, the empire builders, all those who left lasting marks on human history. They may not have explicitly talked about sexual transmutation, but they all practiced it in some way. They understood that sexual energy is sacred, not because it should be repressed, but because it should be respected, honored, and consciously directed. They discovered that this energy, when transmuted, becomes the fuel for all great achievements. They learned that the man who masters this force automatically becomes a channel for higher powers. And now you have access to the same knowledge, the same techniques, the same principles that allowed them to achieve extraordinary greatness. The only question that remains is, what will you do with this knowledge? You can file it away as interesting information and continue living as you always have. You can intellectually agree but never practically apply it. You can start with enthusiasm but give up at the first difficulty. Or you can do what only a small percentage of men have the courage to do: transform knowledge into wisdom through consistent application. The choice is yours. But remember, every time you waste your sexual energy, you are literally ejaculating your future. Every time you succumb to compulsive impulse, you are choosing momentary pleasure over lasting power. Every time you act as a slave to your impulses, you are voting against your own greatness. But every time you consciously conserve your sexual energy, you are investing in your future. Every time you transmute impulse into productive action, you are building real power. Every time you act as the master of your energy, you are voting for your own transformation. The fire that burns within you at this moment is your vital energy asking for direction. It can be wasted in 5 minutes of empty pleasure or transmuted into decades of extraordinary achievements. It can be used or to satisfy primitive impulses or to build a lasting legacy. It can be the source of your mediocrity or the fuel of your greatness. Energy doesn't lie. It simply flows in the direction you consciously choose. If you direct it downwards through immediate gratifications, it produces mediocre results. If you direct it upwards through higher purposes, it produces extraordinary results. Energy is neutral. Direction is conscious choice. This is the moment of truth. This is the turning point where your life can completely change direction. You can leave this moment as the same person who entered, or you can leave transformed by the profound understanding that you possess within yourself the power to become anything you can conceive and believe. The sexual energy you compulsively wasted can become the force that builds your fortune. The same energy that left you exhausted can become the one that energizes you for great endeavors. The fire that burned without purpose can become the flame that forges your greatness. Napoleon. Hill saw this happen hundreds of times. Ordinary men discovering universal principles and transforming themselves into giants in their fields. The only difference between them and the masses was the willingness to consistently apply the knowledge they possessed. Knowledge without application is just entertainment. Knowledge with application is transformative power. You now possess the knowledge. The application depends entirely on you. No one can do this journey for you. No one can make this decision for you. No one can develop this power for you. It's an individual journey that every man must take alone, but whose fruits benefit everyone around him. When you become the master of your sexual energy, you automatically raise the standard of masculinity around you. Your refined presence inspires other men to seek their own greatness. Your living example proves that it's possible to transcend primitive impulses and operate from higher purposes. You become a force of positive transformation simply by having transformed yourself. And as years pass and you see the fruits of your discipline manifesting in all areas of your life, professional success, deep relationships, vibrant health, inner peace, significant contributions to the world, you will understand that sexual transmutation wasn't just a technique you learned, but the portal through which you discovered your true power. You will understand that all the energy wasted in previous years could have been directed towards building the extraordinary life you always dreamed of living. But you won't regret the past, because you will understand that everything was necessary to reach the point where you were ready to receive and apply this transformative knowledge. The spiritual warrior residing within you is awakening at this moment. He has been dormant for years, perhaps decades, numbed by empty pleasures and unnecessary distractions. But now, fueled by conserved and transmuted sexual energy, he is rising, assuming his rightful position as commander of your life. This warrior doesn't fight unnecessary external battles. His war is internal, against laziness, against procrastination, against self-destructive impulses, against all the forces within you that want to keep you small, safe, and mediocre. It's a war he cannot lose, because it's fueled by the most powerful force available to human beings. And when this inner warrior is in command, your external life automatically transforms. Opportunities appear because you have the energy to recognize and seize them. Relationships deepen because you are truly present, not wasting vital energy on fantasies or compulsions. Projects materialize because you have the mental power to visualize them clearly and the persistence to execute them completely. This is the invitation life is extending to you right now, to awaken your dormant power, to assume your rightful place as a conscious creator of your reality, to become the man you were born to be. The invitation has always been there, but perhaps you weren't ready to receive it before. Now you are. The vital energy that pulses within you is the fuel. The knowledge you've absorbed is the map. The decision to consistently apply this knowledge is the vehicle. The destination, a life of extraordinary accomplishment, awaits you. There are no more excuses. There's no more time for hesitation. There's no more room for conscious mediocrity. You know what you need to do. You know why you need to do it. You know how to do it. The only thing left is to do it. Stand up now. Look yourself in the mirror. See the man you can become looking back at you through your own eyes. Make a solemn promise to this man that you will waste not a single drop of the sacred energy entrusted to your care, that you will conserve it, refine it, consciously direct, it to build the extraordinary life he deserves to live. This promise is more than words. It's a pact with the deepest forces of your nature. It's a commitment to the greatness that has always been latent within you. It's the first step on the journey that will transform you from an ordinary man into a force of nature. The fire of transmuted vital energy is burning within you now. Fuel it with daily discipline. Direct it with clear purpose. Protect it from unnecessary waste. And watch as it forges, day by day, the most powerful, most magnetic, most accomplished version of yourself. This is your hour, this is your moment, this is your opportunity to prove to yourself and to the world that you are far more than you ever dared to dream. The energy is waiting, the knowledge is available, the power is within your grasp. The only question that remains is, are you ready to become the master of your own energy, and through it the conscious architect of your own destiny? The inner warrior whispers, yes. And in that yes resides all the transformative power you will need for the next chapters of your life. Chapters you will write yourself with the golden ink of vital energy transmuted into extraordinary accomplishments.